All right, let's try this one more time
It's
here.
cool.
Starting streaming.
Oh, it's like
Did it work? Purple JRE's love.
live, live, live.
Live life, life. Now we can pay money for the credit card.
Okay. Oh, here we go. I think we're live. Yeah,
And thanks for live.
we've been live
The
for
man says we're live. I can't see it.
42 seconds. Yeah, we're live. It might not be public, so let me see here. Yeah, okay, now I gotta set it to public. Okay. Should be able to see it now, and we should be live. We live?
Not showing up.
It's not showing up for us.
It'll take just...
Oh, it's there. It
It's
is.
there.
Cool.
It's there.
All right, it looks like we're on the air.
Hey, God damn.
So anyway, to people who are inevitably the millions who are watching us right now, welcome to the Daily Dose Podcast, episode 4. Episode 4, I think. And today, our topic... You ready for this, Pat?
This for yeah.
Topic is going to be
Yeah.
Bloody Australia.
Ow.
All about Australia. And
Hell yeah.
a lot of interesting shit about Australia. A lot of things, a lot of misconceptions about Australia that surprised me to learn about. But as usual, we're going to start with Is It BS? The game. So it's Pat versus Mitchell. You got to figure out if these are facts that I flat out fabricated or if they're the unadulterated truth. For starters, in 2005, the government of Australia banned the use of the word mate at the Parliamentary House. The ban was overturned in less than 24 hours.
Did you say mate?
Mate. They banned all use of the word mate in the Parliament House. And then the ban was overturned in 24 hours. True or false?
I'm gonna say false.
I gotta say true just to make it interesting.
That's true.
I'm gonna go with true.
It's true.
No.
Yeah, dude. That cracked me up when I read it. They tried to... They passed like a ban for the word mate, but it was immediately overturned because I guess everyone was getting fined too much. It's great.
Amazing.
Number 2. So Pat has 1 point. Mitchell has 0. And number 2. Kangaroos have been trained to surf, and in 2002, the Kangaroo Surfing League was established and has been held every year since.
That's false.
False.
That's false.
Kangaroo Surfing League.
Kangaroo
I would've heard of that
Surfing
by
League.
now.
I thought
That'll
maybe
be
you
all
would
over
think.
social media.
Thought maybe you'd think like, well, they have legs that are strong. Maybe they can, like, you know.
I may believe like the Kangaroo Boxing League.
That might be a thing.
But then that would
That-
be
that might be
inhumane.
Yeah.
Even though they do that naturally.
Peter would freak out though. True.
They're
Is
already doing it.
that is a real thing?
I mean, yeah, kangaroos.
Yeah, they fight kangaroos.
They beat the shit out of each other. No, not even when people are involved. That's just what they do.
But there's not like a league of it.
There's not a league, but
Oh,
I mean,
okay. Yeah, I know they box.
kangaroo culture kind of like their whole culture is kind of centered around like which male is like the best at fighting.
Unlike our superior human culture, which isn't like that at all. Number 3. More than 25% of Australia's residents were born overseas. The numbers projected to increase rapidly.
I say true.
25%. A quarter of everyone there has moved from another country
Currently there.
or continent.
Yeah, I guess technically.
I'm gonna say that's false.
That's true.
Damn.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which makes sense. I feel like I hear about a lot of people moving to Australia.
Me
That's
too.
true.
Yeah, me too.
And everyone I know who goes there loves it. I was hearing the other day on another podcast I watched, they were something about Australia had the highest amount of like beautiful women and the highest amount of sexually satisfied people. So maybe that's what makes everyone want to move there, or at least all dudes.
If they're sexually satisfied, they should be reproducing and making more Australians.
Sounds good to me.
But I'll go with it.
Well, I mean, sexually satisfied doesn't mean you're making offspring.
That's true. That's true.
I'm cool with it.
Number 4. 90% of Australia's population lives on the coasts.
90%.
Say true.
I'm going to just close this non-relevant piece of information.
Say true.
It is true. Oh, shit. Did Pat answer?
Good guess.
Oh, my bad. Well, I'll give it to both of you because, I mean, I literally had this up while we're talking. But, yeah, this is just, the outback, as they call it, is just infinite desert with a couple small forests here and there. But really, most of what's near the coast, you don't really think about it. But here's a forest map of Australia. And there's a fair amount of just forests that you wouldn't really be able to tell this is in Australia. And just things that, if you were in any of these places, it would seem just like you're in any other sort of, what do they call that? Like a temperate broadleaf biome where there's just forests as far as the eye can see. But they're all out here, so this is where people are going to live. They're not about to, this is just dead for guaranteed death, basically. So I guess this is now 3-3. Yeah, you guys it's 3-3.
Okay.
Number 5. The word mozzie is slang for mosquito in Australia.
Mozzie?
Mozzie. M-O-Z-Z-I-E.
False.
Say false.
It's true.
Oh.
Mozzie.
Mozzie.
You gotta go swat that mozzie over there.
It makes sense.
It does. It made too much sense for me. That's why
I've just never heard it.
Mozzie. Number 6. Bono is not legally allowed in the country of Australia due to referring to its inhabitants as genetically prone to criminality.
I'm going to say true.
I'm going to say true just because I don't see how you could randomly make that up.
It's false.
Ah!
Every time I've gotten one really good one where you guys were like, no way you could make that up, but then I did. It makes me feel really happy about my ability to lie.
I didn't think Bono would say that.
I thought for sure you guys would be like, no way, that's true.
I mean,
I don't know Bono personally, so I don't know what he would say.
maybe he said that a long time ago, like before, it mattered as much.
That actually is going to bring us to an interesting point about a big misconception about Australia. But first, the last question here is, Australia is the driest country on Earth other than Antarctica.
Did you say the driest?
The driest in terms of rainfall.
Okay. All right.
Driest country.
Driest country. Wait, are we talking about driest overall landmass? Like square miles of dryness?
Yeah, so the annual rainfall proportionate to the amount of landmass.
Okay. I'm gonna say false on that.
I'd say false.
It's true. Yeah.
The driest country.
It was surprising because I would have thought.
It kind of makes sense because look at it. Most of it is desert.
I would have thought somewhere North Africa might beat it, but
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Me too.
But apparently not. So that's it. You guys tied. And what were you gonna say about the coast one? Pat, 90% of people living on coasts. Did you think that was true or not?
I was gonna say false just to make it interesting because he said
Oh, well,
Sorry.
Mitchell, you might have won.
I win.
so.
So, I'm sure you guys have heard of the whole thing about Australia was formed because Britain was sending
Penal.
all these. Say again.
Penal.
Penal.
It's a penal colony.
Oh yeah, okay. And that they sent their convicts there. Well, that is actually a big myth. Despite these,
What?
yeah, it's in reality it would have been very economically inefficient and impractical to
I always
just
thought that.
take your prisoners and send them around Africa and Asia and all the way down there. It's got an element of truth to it in that basically Britain wanted to colonize this sort of area here. They were colonizing everywhere. They said, well, let's make some colonies in Australia. And one of the ways they did that was by they found skilled laborers like farmers and carpenters, people you need to build a colony, and found ones with minor criminal offenses. So not like murders, but minor criminal offenses, and gave them the option of, well, you can rot in jail or you can basically go do this service project in Australia. A lot of them stayed, but a lot of them, after their 5 years or 10-year contract, came back to Britain. And a lot of the people who did settle in Australia weren't criminals. So the notion that they're all descendant from criminals is false. This was something that Britain was practicing for all of its colonies. It would give the option to send its prisoners to work in whatever colonies if they had a minor offense but were skilled laborer. So Australia is really no different than any other colonized place in that regard.
I'm glad. That's great. That's great news.
Yeah.
That's great news.
Another really interesting thing, I've always been fascinated by maps of the early world, and early on they see if I got a better one. Here we go. Early on when they were, trying to figure out what Australia was exactly, they came up with this concept. Well, one guy came up with a concept that was briefly popular called Terra Australis, and that he thought they were all seeing it on this side because this is how they came there. And at the time, cartography was difficult without planes and everything. So that he theorized that it was just going to be a whole new continent over here. That it just would keep going. And that had something to do with the belief that the landmass in the southern hemisphere had to be equal to the landmass in the northern. And they thought that maybe it just kind of connected to Antarctica. So this is what they thought Australia was. And that it would just sort of...
Was this still when they thought the world was flat? Or is this after that?
Believe it or not, there wasn't much of a period where people thought the world was flat. That's also a myth. From what I understand, it was really as soon as, 1000 AD, it was pretty much universally accepted that it was round. The debate was over the size of it. Even Christopher Columbus was nowhere near the first to assume it was round. He just thought it was smaller he thought it was a smaller sphere than previously imagined. And he was wrong because he found this and not this. But yeah, Terra Australis.
Cool.
That's an interesting idea.
There's another one of these. Yeah, this is a good
I
one.
wish it were true.
Terra Australis.
And then another big misconception is the idea that this one's not quite as widespread, but I've heard always that there's all kinds of dangerous animals in Australia. It's like that got all the most dangerous animals in the world, like super venomous snakes,
Spiders.
It's really doesn't have many more than anywhere else. It's got this exotic idea.
They're just bigger.
Yeah, it's bigger, and I think because maybe some of the ones there are very unique.
Uh-huh.
It's
But as
kinda
far
just-
as like danger goes, it's not actually more dangerous.
Yeah, it's got its fair share of dangerous things, but people say, box jellyfish, But there's jellyfish everywhere. There's sharks everywhere in the world, and everywhere has its fair share of venomous snakes. Like, I mean, right here in North Carolina, the rattlesnake is a big deal. And I bet people in other countries see that and hear the concept of it and are like, I would never go to North Carolina. It's like, how many times have you seen a rattlesnake?
I don't know if I've ever
seen some copperheads.
Yeah.
They
I
deadly.
don't encounter very many snakes.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, if you just go into the woods like all the time, you probably will, but like if you're just a regular person, you're not going to really encounter it.
I went into the woods behind my house all the time, and I did see a lot of copperheads. Only time I saw a rattlesnake was in Hanging Rock, but I only saw one, and I was going there every year, and I would spend the whole week just walking around in the forests and mountains. So yeah, and I only saw one probably in like 200 hours I've spent walking around Hanging Rock Mountains. I saw one, and it was hauling ass away because they don't like they don't like people.
That's why they have the rattler. So they want you to know they're there, like warn you.
Yeah.
It's just always a nice thought.
I'm a toy. Play with me.
So to lure babies towards it and eat them.
Hey, check out my little shaky.
Or dogs or anything like that.
It is weird to think about, like, kangaroos are one of the strangest looking animals. And they're only in Australia.
They look so human.
Yeah. They're basically like people.
It's like a human mixed with a deer.
Yeah. And it's like a deer's head on like a really fat person's body.
With a pouch.
Whose legs are just like these little stumps.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like a fupa pouch and a big tail.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Like, imagine being some of the first, I guess European colonists or whatever, to see a kangaroo. Just be like, what in God's name is that?
It must have been very interesting. I wonder who the first person to get beaten up by a kangaroo was. First person to just
get their ass whooped.
Like, try to go, like, make friends with the kangaroos and just get beaten up.
Like a gang of them just fucking kicking them on the ground.
That's what they do.
Really? Are they aggressive?
They're fighters, yeah. As far as I know.
I'm a dang old mouse out here. There's Sydney. I figured, just...
Wow.
Have a good old thing, Sydney.
It's a very nice looking city.
It is. I would not mind being there.
It looks real nice.
Looks like a utopia.
It's one of, I wonder if the water's actually blue like that.
I hope so.
Yeah, I was wondering.
I really hope so.
They cut the contrast stuff or something.
In most photos, they do that. But I went to the Bahamas way back in the day when I was probably 11 years old, and the Bahamas, the water actually does look like this when you're flying in.
Oh yeah.
It's a little murkier near beaches because I guess the sand. It's like more that green color we get in.
We've been to the Bahamas. We went to the Blue Lagoon.
Oh yeah, you did the cruise there.
Yeah, the water really is as blue as you would think. It's like crystal clear.
The Bahamas was amazing.
Yeah.
Although I gotta say Hawaii was better.
I would imagine so.
I was a little older when I went to Hawaii, but it was amazing.
It's probably more gentrified in Hawaii.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's part of the United States.
Yeah, it's just not like...
so it benefits from that. Although, from what I remember, a lot of the people who live in Hawaii are still the native population there. And there's also a lot of, population from Asia because it's really equidistant from North America and Asia. So they have a very mixed place, but more so just in terms of, like, everywhere you go, it's got this sort of jungle quality. Even in the like cities where I was, like the places where you land and you'll probably be staying, it's just so cool. Instead of pine trees and palm trees, you've got all these tropical trees. Just around.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. You know, of course, volcanoes.
You got volcanoes. Have you
Nice.
guys seen those videos of what's going on in Hawaii right now?
No.
It's some, I don't want to play any because you know, you can get screwed for copyright, but like a lot of videos of people in some island, there was an eruption. I don't know if it's still going on, but people who just be driving on like a road and there's just lava like slowly overtaking it.
Nice.
It's so freaky.
I'm assuming if you drive over lava, your tires will pop.
Yeah. Or worse. I mean, it's melted rock. So
Right.
you got to think, yeah, it's hot.
Stuff.
That would scare me so much. I've always had a phobia of lava.
Yeah, I think everybody does. Everybody plays the game when you're a kid, like pretend the ground's the lava and you have to like
the ground's
jump
lava.
over stuff.
The floor.
I think it's because there's so much lava in video games.
Video games and like animated movies.
I
And
was a-
Dante Peak.
Dante's Peak.
I was about to say, like, my earliest memories of it were from the movie Fantasia, when the animation for the Rite of Spring has the scene where the Earth is forming and there's just volcanoes everywhere. I don't know if you've seen Fantasia.
I've never
don't.
seen it.
They basically just Walt Disney just made these animations. It's a really cool movie. It's to this day one of my favorites, probably just because I saw it when I was like 3 and it's ingrained in my memory. But it's cool. Like, it's a trip. It's just all this classical music that he put in, he just animated to, and this was back when animation was really new and really cool. But anyway, there's a sequence in that where it's just shows like the whole world is, you know, volcanoes and lava everywhere. And I used to have nightmares about it because I saw it when I was so young. And when I was in Hawaii, there was an opportunity. My dad was like, "You can, you know, there's a volcano erupting, and you can fly over it in a helicopter if you want." And I was like, "Hell no!" I was just like, "Screw that."
It sounds awesome to me.
I just
That's what
imagine
he was saying, but I
flying
wasn't about to
over
do it.
That volcano just like just straight into the helicopter, lava incinerates the whole chopper.
Oh god. Ugh.
Is that scene kind of like the Dumbo scene, where it's like super trippy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's honestly way cooler. It's a really cool movie. I still think of it as being kind of for little kids, but it's really not. I think it's definitely psychedelic influenced because he did his fair share of that. But it's like cool. I really want to show it, but I'm pretty sure it would get claimed.
Mm.
I bet I can show you some images though. Rite of Spring. And then it became like this thing about dinosaurs. So like, let's see if
Oh.
it was this kind of animation. So this is back when they really did draw every frame. And
Oh.
it's amazingly well animated. Like it's incredible that they managed to pull it off.
It's awesome.
But anyways, I wonder if there's volcanoes in Australia. Probably not.
Oh. Is there any mountain? I guess there are some.
It's the land down under.
It's a good question, actually.
New Zealand has a lot of mountains, but I don't know about Australia.
You said what has a lot of mountains?
Like New Zealand, isn't it really mountainous?
Oh
Or
yeah.
at least like somewhat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Usually New Zealand and Australia are like hand in hand. At least in my mind.
So it's looking like. Let me bring.
I've
this-
never heard of any volcanoes in Australia.
I feel like I don't really hear of any other than Hawaii and Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and then I guess there's Italy. It has some. Here's an elevation map. Hold on a second. So, it's a decent amount.
Yeah.
So, more you get towards this is, I guess there's a weird bunch of hills right here.
A rocky coast.
I didn't know there was a bunch of lakes here. That's interesting.
Me neither.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
And really everywhere. Look at all this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's actually a lot of rivers, like running through it.
Seems there's more than meets the eye about this place.
That other map you were showing us with the population,
It didn't have any of the...
it didn't show like all those rivers.
Oh, this is an interesting one. These are they're basically their states. Just how it's organized. You got Western Northern Territory, Queensland, New South Wales, South Australia, Victoria, and Tasmania.
That's Tasmania?
Queensland.
Queensland. Oh, we're going to take a trip up to Queensland.
Hey,
what about like
nice
hurricane?
coffee cup, dude.
Oh, thanks. This is the one Victoria gave me. When we lived in the house, she got us. I think it was.
We had
it was Christmas. Oh yeah, and y'all had this for damn.
I remember having that.
Y'all had it forever, and I'm like, I wonder where my coffee cup went. Mitchell stole it.
What about, do they get like earthquakes or typhoons or any sort of natural disasters?
Probably.
You never hear about
Natural
Australia getting
disaster.
fucked up.
Well, let's see here.
Tsunami.
I thought you had all the facts.
I didn't memorize every damn thing in the world about it. Okay, well, one of their biggest disasters was a sea battle.
Sea battle?
I guess during World War II. This is just a list of disasters, so I guess it's not specific to
natural disaster.
They were hit by the flu pandemic pretty hard, which everyone in the world was. Polio epidemic pretty hard. Heat waves. I guess that's a natural disaster.
True.
They probably deal with that a lot. Cyclones.
Yeah.
Shipwreck, sinking, air raid, prison break. That's a nightmare. A prison break full of Australians.
God.
It's crazy because the whole place is a prison.
Be worse than Katrina. It's not, Mitchell. We just talked about this. Gosh. Pay attention. Bushfires. That's a natural disaster.
Oh, yeah. Fires.
The bushfire.
Didn't think about that.
This is a freaky image. Look at this. Look at this image.
What's another bushfire?
I guess just
there's a bushfire.
brush and twigs as far as the eye can see, just burning.
Wow.
Lots of twigs. Burning twigs.
That's what hell looks like.
So yeah, it looks like mostly cyclones and heat waves are the ones I'm seeing the most of.
Not that bad.
Not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah, man.
But,
Australia might be a place to be, you know?
Like tsunamis are probably like the worst.
Tsunami.
Like mudslides and landslides and like flooding.
Sinkholes.
You don't want any of that.
Mudslides would scare me too. I've always had a phobia of tornadoes, though. Even though,
Yeah, too.
I don't know. Did you guys get tornadoes growing up out there?
A little bit.
It's pretty flat. Chapel Hill is so, spontaneous in its elevation that they never really formed here. But we would get tornado warnings a lot because they'd be in nearby places. They just never come out here.
Oh yeah, I mean, we get a fair share of tornadoes out here.
Are you guys watching the stream right now?
No, I'm just watching the Skype.
Nice. Well, we have a person who's watching other than myself.
Oh,
Holy
Christ.
So, hi,
shit.
person who's watching.
Holy shit.
It's just,
What's up, man?
earlier we had 3. So maybe we had 2 people watching who weren't ourselves.
Oh.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah, see what I need to do is we need to do one on a technology topic. because everyone who's at my channel is here for,
Yeah.
for the tech videos. I really wanted to do one on the internet and stuff.
Technology. We're both pretty tech savvy. We know our fair share.
What y'all need to do is invent some technology to cover that window behind you, because your camera is tripping out.
Is it?
Really?
Yeah, well, it's just every now and then does this fluctuation of focus.
Oh.
And it makes you guys so dark. You guys have the same webcam as me, so if you just covered that thing up, you know, you'd be nice and bright.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. And last topic is a little bit about the indigenous population of Australia.
Aborigine.
The Aboriginals. Currently, they compose 2.8% of Australia's pop.
That's actually pretty high.
I think it's more than Native Americans here.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
Isn't it? The earliest confirmed remains of humans in Australia is dated to about 50,000 years ago. Some anthropologists have argued it could be as far as 65,000. Generally, the accepted date is 50,000. Aboriginal cultures were highly diverse, consisting of 250 different languages when the settlers arrived, and there's evidence that the ones up in let me get this. So up here where you have all those forests we were talking about, that everyone up here was trading and interacting with people from Indonesia, what is now known as Indonesia, long before Europeans landed here. And most likely, I didn't find anything about this, but I would assume people from India, were coming down here every now and then, because India was civilized a long time ago, and they had ships and everything.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's really crazy to think about, like, how long it took people to get from like Britain all the way down here.
Yeah. And how do you, like...
Or I guess they could have gone through Europe.
How many people do you think, like, sailed looking for other land, and then, like, right before they were about to see, like, America or something that had never been discovered, they, like, turned around and went back?
Yeah.
Do you think that happened a lot?
I wonder.
Or if it happened at all?
Like where you get real
How
close to like discovering a new thing.
I remember hearing a story about Christopher Columbus that they were about to like kill him. Like they mutinied him and were about to kill him because they thought he had led them out into an infinite ocean of nothingness where they were going to starve. And right as they were about to kill him, the guy up in the parrot's perch was like, "Land who?" And they sell America. But I don't know if that's true, because so much of what so much what you hear about Christopher Columbus is nonsense.
Yeah, you can't believe anything, really.
And it's all nonsense that's been applied by other people, because like he didn't, again, like I was saying earlier, he didn't think the world was round, or he wasn't opposed to people who thought it was flat, because most people knew it was round. He just thought it was smaller, and like,
yeah.
How can you blame him? Because it's not like they had the most advanced tech back then.
Mm-hmm.
And he also never claimed to discover America, from what I understand. Like, because they knew there was land out here. But he thought, from what I understand, he thought that like you could go down here and around, and that India would be like right here.
Yeah.
And that's what they tried to do, and that this was somehow connected to Asia. And people didn't, they didn't have any other way of knowing. But he never claimed to discover America. People hundreds of years later claimed he did. And I guess just because it's easier than saying, well, some people kind of knew about it, and then the Vikings kind of found it, and some people kind of found it here, but we didn't know. It's easier to tell kindergartners, like, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Yeah.
Sailed the ocean blue.
And then now people were like, Christopher Columbus was an evil man. Slaughtered all of the...
Who took credit for something he didn't discover.
Which, I mean, yeah, he probably did kill a lot of Native Americans. I'm assuming.
Well, I mean, he probably didn't, but...
Who knows what he did? But, I mean...
Maybe he brought, like, one specific germ.
Yeah.
That led to the...
Even if he didn't mean to, the diseases killed a lot. And then just by him being there, a bunch of other people followed right after him that then killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, pretty much every old worlder who set
Even if he
foot
didn't mean
in America was...
Still, it was pretty bad. There's really no way that we could have discovered America without it being bad. It was bound to be bad.
Yeah. I think something similar
stuff.
happened to the Aboriginals, like a lot of diseases that they just weren't genetically used to.
Yeah.
Were brought here when people started settling from the old world, and you know,
there's real no clean way to go about it.
This is a really interesting map I've seen.
That is weird.
So I guess they thought Australia was just this. It was just Antarctica, and that it extended into a desert.
About the different theories people had.
Yeah.
So they thought that was the shape of the Earth?
No, I think this is one of the methods they use to represent a sphere.
Oh, okay.
Because the inherent problem with all maps is that there's no way you can represent a sphere on a flat plane, which is why they have to make Mercator scrunches things at the it exaggerates things at the poles, and then various other ones have other ways of dealing with it. I assume that's what they were doing here, because I think, you know, by the time the Americas were discovered and colonized and shaped out, and they kind of had all this. By that point in history, I'm pretty sure it was well established the world was spherical. So I think this is probably like a way they unfolded it. I don't know.
Interesting.
And you look down. Yeah, you look down here.
It's like surrounded by clouds. I like that. Oh yeah, and then down there at the bottom, it shows the sphere.
Yeah. The craziest thing is, like, you don't really think about it because of the way maps are structured, but the Pacific Ocean is basically its own hemisphere. It's like pretty much the entire eastern hemisphere is just an ocean.
That is true, yeah.
And everything else is on the other side. And if you look at a globe, it's a lot more noticeable. I don't have an actual map of the world here. But it's crazy to think about, like, all of this takes up hardly more space than, like, the Pacific Ocean. There's parts of the Pacific Ocean. Sorry, what?
So it's really just like top to bottom water, pretty much, this Pacific Ocean.
There's parts of the Pacific Ocean where if you dug a hole straight through the earth, you would come out in the Pacific Ocean.
Wow.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it's probably parts of, you know, like the specifics, like really long parts. Excuse me. So I guess that's pretty much it for what I have. Y'all have any other closing thoughts on the great country Australia?
Not really.
Who can tell me what the capital of Australia is?
Melbourne.
Sydney. Oh, come on, dude.
Victoria.
No. Alright, I'm gonna go with
New South Wales.
I know it's not. It's gonna be something stupid.
It's a city I had never heard of before. I did this.
I knew it.
What is it?
I don't know.
It is Canberra.
Oh,
Canberra. So Canberra. The official name of Australia is the Commonwealth of Australia.
Commonwealth.
Still got to keep its roots to the old Queen, you know. First European landing was in 1606 by a Dutchman named Willem Janszoon. The first British colony was established in 1788. They were expecting there to be a gold rush. There was not.
That would have been nice.
Cool. Well, this was our first actual live stream. So kind of just a little test run. Thank you to whichever... 3 people watching. One of those is me.
Ooh.
So, 2 whole people who watched us for our first live stream. Next time we got to do something on tech. Probably I'll do one on the internet because that's what all my viewers are here for.
Right.
So, yeah, on that note, thank you to individuals for watching, whoever you are. I hope we lived up to your entertainment standards.